Out of the gates and ready to go. Hot Mic with Hunt and Withrow underway on this Tuesday edition. 6th and Peabody, our location with EHOP Beer and Old Smoky Moonshine. Glad you're with us. OutKick.com/watch is where you can stream the show live, as well as Twitter. Follow us there. And for archiving and going back and watching parts of the show, you can check out our YouTube page. Just search OutKick. We hope you'll subscribe there. Chad, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Hutton.
We have John McClain and Trey Wallace coming up in a bit. We also, we knew one thing about the Super Bowl going in. We didn't know who would win, although we backed Kansas City. We knew it was going to be
correctly, mind you.
We knew it was going to be a
Kansas
massive
City.
audience, and it was the largest audience, the largest and most watched telecast in history. Average viewership 123.4 million. Total audience much higher, with 202 million people tuning in for at least part of the game. It's the highest unduplicated total in audience history, and for a number of reasons. Of course, overtime, you had the drama of this game, the superstar quarterback power of Patrick Mahomes. You had the star power of Taylor Swift and Las Vegas. But, Chad, 202 million individuals tuned in, plus 123 million. Now, keep in mind, last year, the initial number was 115 when it first came out. And 123 is this year's Super Bowl number. That's massive. NFL always wins. They'll always find a way to continue to climb this number. But football is a unifier. Super Bowl Sunday is everyone's gathering for a party in some way, form, or fashion. And when the TV's on, you don't necessarily have to be watching it. But millions upon millions are, yet again.
It's such a uniquely American, it's our own holiday. And it celebrates all things that we love, right? Togetherness, football, commercialism, capitalism, all of it, right? Good products. We love things in America, and we love football, and it delivered once again. Now, the one thing that I hate about all this is the Paramount Plus gaffe, the snafu, where they had issues with their streaming. They're still going to get credit for people that went there and got pissed off about it and went away. If you went to Paramount Plus and clicked on Super Bowl coverage and you got a buffering message like this one right here, you still count that 200 million.
Yes.
So I don't like that little addendum in the story that says, even with Paramount Plus's issues, it's still a record for the streamer. And I'm thinking, I don't want to give them credit for that right there. I get it. It's the Super Bowl, and people that are cord cutters that have Paramount, they went to that streaming service, and they got that. They got an error message when they went there. Some of them may have not gone back, for all I know. They shouldn't count on the 202 million, but they do. They're going to count that number. If you went there and clicked on it and spent any time on that error message, you were on the Super Bowl broadcast, even if Paramount Plus screwed it up. Now, it's still an event that a vast majority of Americans watch on network television and on some form of TV, but still, get it right, Paramount. I'm nitpicking a bit here, but I don't like that part of the story being thrown in there as, even with the issues, still a record day for Paramount Plus. Well, great, fix the issues. It's the Super Bowl. We want our Super Bowl to go off without any hitches, to be perfect, and the game was damn near perfect. So that part of it they got right.
Yeah, and I mean...
And Usher. Usher, I thought, was as close to perfect as you can get.
They had record numbers, by the way, in Canada as well. Not to this number, but you had a massive audience in Canada that reported their numbers yesterday.
Must have been a slow hockey night on Sunday.
I guess so.
Were the Maple Leafs not playing Sunday night?
I don't know.
They must have an off
Or
night.
if they were, that's why the number was much lower than
no
what
big
was expected.
curling events going on in Canada. No maple syrup making contests. None of that happening.
I don't think so.
They had to tune in the Super Bowl, I guess. Wow, weird.
And they'll continue to do this globally across the board. But again, they have to be thrilled, of course, with the states and what CBS is pulling, but Canada setting record numbers as well, and it peaked during the halftime show. Not by much, though.
Yeah, it was like I saw it was like a 23-minute window, and the halftime show is right in the middle of that window where they had the most viewers.
Yep.
So it always does.
7% increase, by the way, from last year's Super Bowl to this year.
Yeah. I expect, that unless it's just an awful matchup, right? I think next year is probably going to have another 5 to 7% increase, the way this is going for the NFL. I just think it's going to continue going up.
One thing I would ponder is what would have happened if Detroit were playing? You have the true underdog element to it instead of the Chiefs being the underdog.
I don't
you
think
get more, or you think the number's practically the same?
I don't think of the 49ers as like a huge national draw either. I think a year ago, Chiefs-Eagles to me is a better matchup
Yeah.
of middle of America, East Coast, big market. Now, San Francisco is a huge market, don't get me wrong, but I think from a television standpoint, that would be the better matchup. I think Detroit would have been fantastic. Not from a market size or a fan base size, but because they would be the ultimate underdog story against the ultimate villain in the Chiefs now, because they've become the New England Patriots. They've become the dynasty of the NFL. So I think the numbers could have been even better. It's tough to say, you're going to go way over 202 million or whatever it was for the game. But maybe it would have been a little bit better with the Lions.
Chad, I wonder if Representative from Tennessee, Congressman Steve Cohen, is pissed off that the record number peaked during the halftime show when everyone was on their feet for "Yeah" or "You Got It Bad," instead of the Black National Anthem, "Lift Every Voice and Sing." Everyone stands for the national anthem, and he's upset that everyone wasn't on their feet and it rose to acknowledge the Black National Anthem, "Lift Every Voice and Sing," to the point where he's tweeting this out, expecting that everyone stands to address that song as well. He's got a couple of things just way off base here. First, I bet half the people that you would encounter walking into that stadium have no clue that it's going to be played or what it is. Second, if that's true, why didn't everyone stand for "America the Beautiful" from Post Malone? And I'm guessing he has no issue with players kneeling for the national anthem about 10 years ago. That would be my response there. The funny response would be, then why does everyone stand for "God Bless the USA" when Lee Greenwood hits? Because
that may just be in the state of Tennessee or in the South.
No,
but it is funny to see people rise for that.
Yes.
I got into a big discussion about that when I was with my family in the mountains recently, and I was having to explain to my family that you realize this is not the Francis Scott Key version of our national anthem. This is just a song that Lee Greenwood wrote. They could not comprehend that it was not like an American anthem you stand for.
Yeah.
Which you and I always laugh about when people stand
Everyone
for
stands.
that song.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about "Lift Every Voice and Sing." I'd like to get an honest poll question, an opinion of African Americans across this great nation. And I'd like to poll them and ask, who knew this song, start to finish, and the words to it before, when did it start? 2016, 2017? This became a thing?
No, it was well after that.
So it was 2020. It was around
2 years
George
ago.
Floyd, right?
Yeah.
Is when we started hearing this song.
And they played it at the Super Bowl for the first time last year.
I don't think even African Americans acknowledged this as their national anthem until 2020. So the NFL trying to force it into their broadcast, the NFL has done more for this song than anyone else. The national anthem is the national anthem. It is all Americans. I consider any American a citizen of this country, regardless of race or religion, to be an American, and that song is for you. It's for me. It's for you. It's for everyone.
Right.
The Black National Anthem, to me, is something that was created in 2020 that may have gone back years before, but no one even knew what it was until then.
Well, it goes back a long time.
I don't know
prior.
a single black person that knew this was the national anthem that they're supposed to acknowledge before this started.
Well, but our national anthem represents everyone.
Right.
It's not.
That's exactly my point. Like, it's not a white or black national anthem.
Right.
It is the national anthem.
Well, he's just pandering to his constituents here.
Of course.
Steve Cohen represents the 9th District, which is 67% black. He drives an 86 Caddy. He's white. And by the way, he's the only Democrat in the congressional delegation in the state of Tennessee. But the point being, this is making a stir for the simple cause of making a stir.
Right. And
was he at the game?
I don't think
based on his
so.
outrage, you would expect if he doesn't know who stood or who didn't. Is he just basing it off the shots of the crowd?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he was there. But, Matt Gaetz also posting, they're desecrating America's national anthem by playing something called the Black National Anthem.
Well,
he's just placating to his group, too.
No, they're not. They're
Right?
not desecrating. Again, no one's kneeling or staying in the locker room for this either.
No, but my point is, like, that right there, if you're that, I'm not offended by the song. I just think that you stand for the national anthem. And I'd like the national anthem to mean the national anthem for every American and not a separate race national anthem.
Yeah.
That's my point with this. They're also not desecrating the national anthem. They're still playing the national anthem last. That's the last song to play. So to Gates' point, that's also not true. That's extreme, just like this politician from Tennessee is being extreme about it.
Yeah, this Lift Every Voice and Sing, composed in the 19th century and by James Weldon Johnson, is an ode to hope for African-American freedom as well as faith. That's fine. But to act like it's something that must be, you stand and you salute in some way is, you're also not, you're not taking a swipe by sitting down and eating a hot dog while this is going on. Again, because you could do the same thing with America the Beautiful. And how do we know this is just universally just known? Because the reporters aren't taking attendance on what everyone else is doing during the song, like they did during the national anthem. Who took a knee, who didn't? Who was in locking arms and who didn't? That was going on for far too long. Like taking attendance on which players show up to the voluntary practice.
Well, and that was the protest part of it. I don't think anybody that is sitting during this is protesting. They're just saying this isn't the national anthem.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just this is just causing a stir for the sake of trying to cause a stir.
Yeah.
Period.
But the people who were kneeling for the national anthem were trying to cause a stir. That was their attempt. So they were actually trying to make a statement. That's why people were taking roll on who was standing.
I guess I don't need some white guy telling me about the Black National Anthem.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I don't see the outrage. Chad, you were like, I don't know.
I don't know any black people who acknowledge it as their national anthem.
I don't know
before 2020.
I don't know any of the guys we would hang out with that would be outraged about not standing.
No, I don't care. Again, I don't care regardless. Like, it's the NFL doing what the NFL does, right? When it started this. So it's not, I didn't get mad about it. I also don't care if someone doesn't stand up at the Super Bowl for it.
Yeah, or period. But I'm talking with, whenever this was going on through the NFL, to friends of ours who played or maybe in NFL front office, they almost said, like, yeah, you wouldn't know about it because you're not black, so you wouldn't know about this song. But they didn't take offense to it. It was just like it was almost like I wasn't supposed to know about it. Steve Cohen saying I should.
Well, here's what I like about most Super Bowl traditions and most things that we acknowledge before a game. It's something meant for everyone to know. I prefer those things. I don't like excluding because of race, class, whatever, and saying you're not supposed to know about this. You're white. You don't need to know about it. And if that's the case, then no one should be, including this politician, no one should be upset about anyone who didn't stand for it. If it's not meant for us, as in the white people of the world. I don't understand that, and I want to get back to a place where the national anthem is our national anthem. I mean, our national anthem. White, black, Hispanic, wherever you're from, you're in this country, you are a citizen, this is our national anthem.
And it is.
Yes.
And it is.
Yes.
I mean, Chad, what's next? Are we going to be playing like, Country Boy Can't Survive, Please Rise for Buy Me a Boat from the latest country artist?
I pray not.
No.
I pray not.
Absolutely not. And by the way, we shouldn't be standing to acknowledge Lee Greenwood either, with God Bless the USA.
Yeah.
People stand and look at the flag for that like it is the national anthem, which is also funny.
Yeah.
No columns about that, though.
Right. Let's get back to our national anthem, and that's it.
Chad, can we get back to not having to go into the conspiracy theories that the NFL is rigged, or that there's one party that is outraged about certain celebrities attending a game to help another party or endorse another party? Because that discussion ended pretty quickly after Sunday's game.
Everything doesn't have to be a side or a camp that you take on something. Smart people of the world can have different opinions on different subjects and different areas of interest. That's totally fine for anyone to do that, right? Like, it's my opinion, being someone who I consider myself, relatively intelligent. I might not be as smart as Vivek Ramaswamy. He seems like a very intelligent guy, very well-read, knows a lot of things. But when he floats a crazy conspiracy theory about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce being involved in some deep state CIA conspiracy for the Chiefs to get all the way to a Super Bowl so Taylor Swift can endorse Joe Biden and get all the Swifties to vote for Joe Biden, when he floats that out there and then outlets take that and run with it like it might actually be somewhat true. And I know not everyone treated it that way, but some absolutely spoke and wrote about this like it might actually be true. That's nuts. That's crazy. And when this becomes a thing, because people are so blinded by hate of one group of people or one side or the other or whatever, you become stupid when you do this. Clay Travis, who was on the OutKick network right before this, I think Clay is one of the smartest people I know. Why? Because he doesn't ever get angry. He's never truly emotional or mad about anything. He does not let emotion blind his thinking on any topic at any time. I've never seen it. Rarely see him get mad over it. When you are constantly angry about something, you allow yourself to get dumb and believe things like Taylor Swift is in the CIA and that she's trying to win the election for Joe Biden. By the way, does anyone doubt who Taylor Swift voted for last go around and who she's probably voting for this time? Is that really some big debate about what's going to happen? Of course it isn't.
No, it's not, Chad, because they're looking for her endorsement again. There's a word at the end of that, endorsement again.
Right.
So she's done it once.
So let's go chronologically here. Former President Donald Trump posted this on Truth Social before the game, which I got to hand it to him. Pretty damn funny. He writes, I signed and was responsible for the Music Modernization Act for Taylor Swift and all other musical artists. Joe Biden didn't do anything for Taylor and never will. There's no way she could endorse crooked Joe Biden, the worst and most corrupt president in the history of our country, and be disloyal to the man who made her so much money. Besides that, I like her boyfriend, Travis, even though he may be a liberal and probably can't stand me. Now, that was from Donald J. Trump. Funny. I got a laugh out of that. Now, here's the problem. For everybody on the far right that bought into this stupid conspiracy theory about Taylor Swift and Jason Kelce being CIA operatives to win the election for Joe Biden's camp, Joe Biden did not post this, I'm sure, but someone in Joe Biden's camp was smart enough and clever enough to post this when the Chiefs won. Just like we drew it up with the laser eyes and the smile from Joe Biden. Now, that's not laugh out loud hilarious, but it's pretty damn clever. And you know what that dumb conspiracy did? It did the impossible. It made President Biden look clever for the first time in months. A guy who can't complete a sentence at many speaking engagements. He doesn't know any world leader. He's being ruled by a court to be mentally unfit to stand any type of investigation. That dumb conspiracy theory made him look clever. So bravo for everyone who bought into that, wrote about it, posted about it, and thought it was legit in any way. You made Joe Biden look clever by doing that. Not smart. And this is the lesson in all this. Don't let your emotions make you overly stupid because you want to buy into something that is dumb. And if you believe that Taylor Swift and Jason Kelce are being paid by the CIA to swing an election for Joe Biden, well, that's just flat out stupid.
Yeah. Laughable. It's all rigged. Everything.
And the NFL
and by the way,
this too.
Did she endorse Biden at
no,
the Super Bowl?
I don't think she said anything publicly about the election. Yeah. But the NFL leaned into this also, the dumb stuff about it's rigged, it's scripted, it's scripted. Well, the NFL looks clever when they have the commercial where they lean into the joke about the NFL being scripted. Because, again, that too is dumb if you buy into that.
Yes. Chad, what's not scripted? Mahomes and Kelce on the field. And
it looks like it is at times because they're so good together. They're so in sync.
Sometimes it is.
But there is no script.
Sometimes it is.
They go off script.
They do. NFL general managers and head coaches try as hard as they can to copy the best in the league. Look at all the coaches that have ties to McVay or Shanahan. Certainly, the tree for Andy Reid is lengthy as well. Look at the type of quarterback and offenses we're seeing coming up from the college football ranks and who's having success. Quarterbacks and wide receivers / tight ends should be trying to copy what we see from Mahomes and Kelce. Because while I'm trying to do a better job of in the moment realizing that I'm watching a generational type performance over a career with Patrick Mahomes, for instance. Because I don't think we generally realize what we're seeing. We're just comparing things to history instead of things that will come or may not come for a long time. Mahomes is greatness. The pairing of Mahomes and Kelce is undeniably great as well, and something that no one else in the NFL playing quarterback or receiver or tight end is doing. There's a huge gap between the quarterback pairing of what we're seeing in Kansas City to Mahomes and Kelce to literally anybody. I would put probably Stafford and Kupp next on my list. There's a huge gap between them. Injuries, and just the fact that what they're doing off script, knowing the mannerisms, knowing where the other player is going to be at a certain time, you can't replicate that. You can't copy that. You have to have that rapport, that chemistry that only they have. Mahomes says it's due to a lot of reps, but also they kind of jive from that. They have the same interests. They kind of latched on and became friends. They like each other, and I think that's certainly part of it. But going down through the list in the NFL with Burrow and Chase or Tua and Tyreek Hill, you can keep going to players like Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. They don't have this. They don't have this clutch gene of the duo that you have with Mahomes and Kelce that produce year in and year out and do it off script while knowing where every other player should be. That's not just Mahomes. That's also Kelce. And Chad, thinking about, well, how are they pulling this off that no one else can do this? Because players practice all the time. Off season, even prior to the trade, Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown were working out together, trying to get a jump start on everything. Tom Brady would fly out receivers left and right during the offseason to train. Vacation and train. No one's doing it like this. So we talked with Fox analyst Greg Olson at the Super Bowl in Radio Row and asked the former tight end about what this is like with the connection between quarterback and tight end.
Yeah, he's not always running routes that are how you would draw it on a piece of paper. And what I mean by that is, so when a defense preps all week, so for the last 2 weeks, this is the best way to explain it. For the last 2 weeks, San Francisco has a scout team, and they got a guy wearing an 87 jersey, and he's Travis Kelce. And on every single formation they face, Fred Warner is saying, okay, there's 87, Dre Greenlaw. They're all saying, okay, here's Kelce, we got to find him. And when that coach holds up the scout card, it's a, run 10 yards and banging out, banging in.
Juwan Jennings is playing Kelce or something.
Whatever it is. Those scout team guys or those rep guys are running it exactly. That exact route on Sunday when Kelce runs it, you've dropped all week. You know the landmarks 2 yards inside the numbers at 12 yards or whatever that doesn't apply to him. Him and Mahomes understand the timing of the drop, the protection of how much time Mahomes has to hold it, and give or take where the final landmark on the field is. As long as he gets there, however he gets there, get to that area, Mahomes can see it. He can let it rip from any platform at any moment. It's really hard to prepare for that because very few guys can do it. If most guys just ran routes that were kind of just improvised within a structure, the quarterback would be confused. The quarterback wouldn't be able to do it. They're one of the few duos in NFL history that just have the ability to play the game in a more freestyle manner that, if you can pull off, is very challenging for defenses to plan for.
Because the receivers are actually running their route. And Kelce knows where they're going to be and where he's exactly in the area. Yeah,
and he knows what the other routes are going to do to the defensive coverages as it's unfolding, and he knows where the dead spots in zone are. He knows when it's man. I got a guy taking the backside man defender out, so if I come out the backside of the route, there's going to be no one there. I don't have to stop. You don't get to Kelce's point tomorrow. That's a long time to earn the trust to run those routes. Andy Reid's not letting Rashee Rice run routes like that.
But he let Kelce at some point. That's the other thing. He let Kelce do this.
You earn that trust over time. Yeah.
Chad, it's few and far between that can have even the permission from the head coach to do this. But to pull it off as accurately and consistently as these two do, that's also generational. And quarterbacks and wide receivers across the league would kill for this. Some of it is players aren't sticking around with organizations very long. Different systems. You got coaches that go in and out, and that changes things too. But it starts with the quarterback, but Kelce's meeting him halfway. I truly believe this is 50-50. It's not all on Mahomes just drawing something up and playing playground. Kelce also knows extreme film study is what this takes, because you have to know where the receiver is going to be in your offense based on the defense, because the route may be an option based on what type of defense they're facing on that particular play. Rashee Rice is going to run a certain route based on cover two, different if they've got quarters. And Kelce's got to know that, plus the pocket of the window of where he can go. I think it's epic, and hats off to them that are going for the three-peat coming up in 2024-25.
Well, and I'm just mentally going through different dynasties, and I'm just writing down Brady Gronk, Brady Edelman, Aikman Irvin, Montana Rice, Young Rice. And I know that was one title for that team, but I don't know who's even a close second right now to Mahomes and Kelce. I mean, Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen hate each other, or at least Stephon Diggs doesn't like the Bills at all times, right? Something. I mean, there's just not that one that you say Tua and Tyreek. What if they won together? Even though Tyreek Hill is terrific and puts up huge numbers, I mean, go down the list. Lamar Jackson and any one receiver. I guess it's Mark Andrews would be his guy that's on the same wavelength. But it's tough to find that, Batman and Robin that are that connected and can bro it up with each other to that level and are legitimate friends off the field that you'd point to in the league right now.
Yeah, I mean, Brady had two. You mentioned Edelman and Gronk.
Yeah.
Manning and Harrison come to mind. But the difference is, too, Kelce's not the burner, right? There's not a lot of air yards in these catches. It's not like the yards after catch. For a lot of these receivers, he's eighth on the list, but the difference is the position. And he's got the most receiving yards now in postseason history. And, Chad, I mean, and just thinking about the receiver versus tight end position itself, and the true burners that can take it all or that beat the coverage. A lot of times, Kelce's just finding the open pocket, and there's not a ton of yards after catch in regards to that. I think that makes it even more impressive because the defense is always around you. You're in the pocket where the defense is going to be around you, but they get the yardage necessary and they make the play. Yeah. Even if it's not the play called.
No, it's a great point, and I'm racking my brain to even find who would be second. Cousins, Jefferson doesn't quite have the same ring in winning.
You're talking about in history or just now?
Now.
Oh, but now I said it would be Stafford and Kupp.
Yeah, and that's so far behind.
Yeah,
those
a huge
two.
Gap,
You think
like
about
that's a huge gap there. But Kupp gets hurt, Stafford's banged up. I mean, there is a longevity piece to this.
Well, usually, there's always, when there was Brady Edelman, there was Manning, Demaryius Thomas, right? There's always someone that's close that you can see they're on the same wavelength. Great quarterback, smart player. They know how to get open, know how to find the other one. I don't really see – you're right. There's a gulf between Mahomes, Kelce, and then the next best pairing. How about this for a little fact from Darren Ravel on Super Bowl viewership? Sunday's Super Bowl was the most watched American broadcast since the Apollo 11 moon landing. But the moon landing was watched by 64% of America at the time. Super Bowl 58 was watched by 37% of America. Who is the 63% of America that doesn't watch the Super Bowl? I'd like to have a word with that 63% at some point.
Are they working?
And also, who was the 36% that didn't watch the damn moon landing back in 1969?
Maybe someone without television. I don't know.
What were they doing? I mean, you see every movie, everything in the past was always people sitting around a television watching.
It's fascinating with the percentages. Imagine once they reach more people. Like with everyone's now, not everyone has the device. Our parents don't necessarily. The smartphones, yes, but actually streaming services, my parents aren't watching that on their phone.
I think the percentage
take
may
everything with you.
actually continue to go down while the numbers go up.
Yeah.